Jesus said something about his second coming that has confused Christians for 2,000 years, and most believers completely misunderstand what he meant. He said, "But about that day or hour no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father." Most people interpret this to mean that it is impossible to know anything about the timing of Christ's return, so we should not even try to understand biblical prophecy or watch for signs. But what if Jesus was actually giving us a crucial clue about exactly how his return would unfold? What if this statement was not meant to discourage prophetic study, but to reveal a specific Jewish wedding tradition that would help us understand the rapture in ways the early church immediately recognized but modern Christians have forgotten? Stay with me, because what I am about to show you will revolutionize your understanding of prophecy and reveal why current world events might be signaling that the rapture is much closer than anyone realizes. To understand what Jesus really meant, we have to go back to the Jewish wedding customs of the first century. When a Jewish man wanted to marry a woman, the process involved several distinct stages that every Jewish person understood perfectly. The bridegroom would first negotiate a bride price with the girl's father. If the father accepted, they would drink from a cup of wine to seal the covenant, and the young woman would become legally betrothed to her future husband. But here is the crucial part. After the betrothal, the bridegroom would return to his father's house to prepare a place for his bride. He would build an additional room or expand the family compound to create a home where he and his wife would live after the wedding. The timing of the actual wedding ceremony was entirely up to the groom's father. Only the father would decide when the preparations were complete and when his son was ready to receive his bride. The young man had no authority to set the date himself. He had to wait for his father's permission. When the father finally decided the time was right, he would tell his son, "Go get your bride." The bridegroom would then gather his friends and go to the bride's house, usually at night, with torches and loud celebrations to bring her to the wedding feast. The bride had to be ready at all times because she never knew exactly when her bridegroom would come for her. Now listen to how Jesus described his relationship with his disciples using this exact imagery. At the Last Supper, he took the cup and said, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood." He was acting as the Jewish bridegroom, offering the covenant cup to his bride, the church. When we accept Christ as Savior, we are entering into a betrothal relationship with him. We are legally his, but the marriage has not been consummated yet. After his resurrection, Jesus ascended to his Father's house in heaven. Before he left, he told his disciples, "In my Father's house are many rooms. If that were not so, would I have told you that I am going there to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me." This is exact wedding language. Jesus was telling them that he was going to his Father's house to prepare their future home, just like a Jewish bridegroom would do. But then he said something that would have been immediately understood by any Jew familiar with wedding customs. "But about that day or hour no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father." He was not making a theological statement about the limits of his divine knowledge. He was using the standard phrase that Jewish bridegrooms would say when people asked them when their wedding would take place. Every Jewish man in the betrothal period would tell people, "I do not know the day or the hour. Only my Father knows." This was not because he lacked information. It was because the decision was not his to make. The Father alone would determine when the time was right for his Son to claim his bride. So when Jesus said that no one knows the day or the hour except the Father, he was identifying himself as the bridegroom and revealing that the timing of the rapture, when he comes to take his bride, the church, to his Father's house, would be determined by the Father alone, according to his perfect timing. But here is where it gets really interesting. Jewish fathers did not make arbitrary decisions about wedding timing. They looked for specific signs that indicated readiness. The bridegroom's preparations had to be complete. The bride had to be properly prepared. The season had to be appropriate. The family circumstances had to be right. While the bride could not know the exact day or hour, she could recognize the signs that indicated the time was approaching. This is exactly what Jesus taught about his second coming. While he said we cannot know the day or hour, he also said, "Now learn this lesson from the fig tree. As soon as its twigs get tender and its leaves come out, you know that summer is near. Even so, when you see all these things, you know that it is near, right at the door." He expected us to watch for signs and recognize when his return was approaching, just like a Jewish bride would watch for signs that her bridegroom's return was imminent. The Apostle Paul used this same bridal imagery when he wrote to the Corinthians, "I am jealous for you with a godly jealousy. I promised you to one husband, to Christ, so that I might present you as a pure virgin to him." The church is presented as the bride of Christ, betrothed but not yet married, waiting for the bridegroom to return and take her to the wedding feast. But Paul also revealed something crucial about the timing. He wrote to the Thessalonians about believers who had died before Christ's return. "We do not want you to be uninformed about those who sleep in death, so that you do not grieve like the rest of mankind, who have no hope. For we believe that Jesus died and rose again, and so we believe that God will bring with Jesus those who have fallen asleep in him. According to the Lord's word, we tell you that we who are still alive, who are left until the coming of the Lord, will certainly not precede those who have fallen asleep. For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command, with the voice of the archangel and with the trumpet call of God, and the dead in Christ will rise first. After that, we who are still alive and are left will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air." The phrase "caught up" in Greek is harpazo, which means to snatch away suddenly and forcibly. This is where we get the English word rapture. Paul was describing the moment when the bridegroom Jesus will come for his bride, the church, just like a Jewish groom coming for his bride in the middle of the night with loud celebration. Now, if we understand the rapture as the bridegroom coming for his bride, what signs should we be watching for that might indicate the Father is preparing to send his Son to collect the church? First, the preparations in heaven must be complete. Jesus said he was going to prepare a place for us. John's vision in Revelation shows us the New Jerusalem, the holy city prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. The preparations that began 2,000 years ago are nearing completion. Second, the bride must be properly prepared. Paul wrote that Christ will present the church to himself as a radiant church, without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, but holy and blameless. Throughout church history, God has been working to mature and purify his bride through trials, growth, and spiritual development. Third, the season must be appropriate. Jesus gave us specific signs to watch for wars and rumors of wars, famines, earthquakes, persecution of Christians, false prophets, the gospel preached to all nations. These birth pains would increase in frequency and intensity as his return approached, just like contractions before a birth. Fourth, the Jewish people must be back in their land. Jesus said that Jerusalem would be trampled by the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. He also said that when you see the fig tree, often interpreted as Israel putting forth leaves, you know that his return is near. Israel's rebirth as a nation in 1948 and their recapture of Jerusalem in 1967 may be key prophetic milestones. Looking at our current world, we can see unprecedented convergence of these signs. Israel is back in the land after nearly 2,000 years of exile. Jerusalem is under Jewish control. The gospel is being preached to every nation through modern technology. Wars, natural disasters, and social upheavals are increasing globally. Persecution of Christians is rising worldwide. False prophets and deception are multiplying. The stage is being set for the rise of the Antichrist and the great tribulation that will follow the rapture of the church. But here is what most Christians miss. If the rapture is the bridegroom coming for his bride, then it happens before the judgment period, not during or after it. In Jewish weddings, The bridegroom took his bride to his father's house for the wedding feast, which lasted 7 days. During this time, they celebrated their union in the safety and joy of the father's house. Only after the wedding feast would they return to face the challenges of life together. Biblical prophecy suggests a similar pattern. The church, the bride, will be taken to the Father's house in heaven for the marriage supper of the Lamb, which corresponds to the 7 years of tribulation on earth. While the world experiences unprecedented judgment and the Antichrist's rule, the bride will be safe in the Father's house, celebrating her union with Christ. After the 7 years, Christ will return with his bride to establish his kingdom on earth. This understanding of the rapture as a wedding celebration rather than an escape plan changes everything about how we prepare for it. We are not preparing to survive tribulation. We are preparing to meet our bridegroom. We are not stockpiling supplies for end-time survival. We are adorning ourselves as a bride preparing for her wedding day. The question is not whether we will endure the tribulation, but whether we will be ready when the bridegroom comes. Are you living as a faithful bride, watching and waiting for your beloved's return? Are you keeping your lamp burning and your oil ready like the wise virgins in Jesus' parable? Are you purifying yourself and walking in holiness, preparing to meet the one who loves you more than life itself? Or have you become distracted by the world, forgetting your betrothal, living as if the bridegroom will never return? I want you to think seriously about your relationship with Christ right now. If Jesus came for his bride tonight, would you be ready? Are you walking in intimate fellowship with him, or has your relationship become cold and formal? Are you eagerly anticipating his return, or has the hope of the rapture faded from your daily consciousness? Leave a comment below and tell me how this understanding of the rapture as a wedding changes your perspective on Christ's return. What does it mean to you personally to think of yourself as his bride rather than just his servant or follower? The same Jesus who said no man knows the day or hour also said to watch and be ready, for he is coming at an hour when we do not expect him. The bridegroom is preparing to return for his bride. The Father is evaluating whether all things are ready. The signs are converging like never before in history. This is not a time for spiritual slumber or worldly distraction. This is a time for preparation, purification, and passionate anticipation of the greatest wedding celebration in history. If this message has stirred your heart to prepare for Christ's return, make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. Next week, I am going to reveal another prophetic mystery that will shock you: the real identity of the Antichrist, and why he might already be alive on earth today. Remember, we are not just waiting for an event, we are waiting for a person. We are not just hoping for escape, we are anticipating reunion. The bridegroom is coming, and blessed are those who are ready to meet him in the air.